Let's just remind ourselves, do a little refresher on all the great work that Ubisoft has done recently, shall we? It shouldn't take very long, but Star Wars Outlaws, if you guys remember, the game came out, was at the tail end of August, and by now they have lost 99% of their viewership. Bro, that's terrible. But think of all the great memes that have been captured. Just recently, I watched a supercut of, what was it, all of the EFAP guys and Star Wars Theory, and just really showed how awful this game really is. Like, I can't even remember how many times Theory fell through the ground, or how many bugs Mahler exposed. How the only thing that actually works in that game is the stupid sit down with your goofy little dog and have a meal mini game. Like, are you serious? You thought that was good enough to ship, huh? Alright then, but Star Wars Outlaws sales appear to have completely stagnated as average Twitch viewership has declined over 99%. Well, yeah, exactly, but who could say no to that beautiful face? And no, I'm not talking about the Rhodesian in the background. It's, well, I guess all the people that realize that, oh, no, she isn't a stand-in for a beer opener. Oh, okay. It was reported by Insider Gamer that the game sold just over 1 million copies in its first month. Compare that to the 24-hour $3 million boon that Dragon Ball Sparking Zero just had, but okay. Released, yes, August 30th. Grant Taylor Hill wrote, we have secured a current sales figure from a source close to the game. At the time of writing, Star Wars Outlaws has ticked over 1 million sales worldwide. And you would have to imagine, right, like based on, just overall word of mouth, and even Ubisoft themselves have been talking about the game. Don't worry, it'll be fixed by the time that we try to show this stuff again by the end of November when we relaunch and reintroduce Ubisoft to Steam. It'll all be great by then, I think, potentially, maybe. Why aren't you buying the game, bigots? As noted by Nintendo Life, the game originally debuted at the top of the UK sales charts. Yes, by the second week, it fell to second. By the fifth to third. Oh, I'm sorry. Dropped to fifth in its third week. Third week moved back up to fourth. Fourth week fallen to 13th, and so on and so forth. Continued to fall down the stairs of sales. The game has not just fallen down the UK sales charts. A retail insider shared with that Park Place, following the game's initial release, it has not sold a single copy of the game. I beg your pardon. Holy crap. Because even right now, like if it is to have like a late stage resurgence, it would have to go on sale. I'll be interested, right? With all of these bombs that we've had in 2024, when all of the Steam sales, Ubisoft sales, and PSN and whatever Xbox can contribute at this point in time, when all of the games go on sale, I'll be interested to see how deep the discount is for Outlaws and how many units that ultimately moves. Because if they fix the game, okay, they fix the bugs, you're taking a lot of the meme value out of it. And then all you're left with is just the atrocious dialogue and inconsequential gameplay features. Like, oh, okay, cool, you got this really cool reputation system, which means jack shit by the end. Fantastic. You've got the dialogue of your just generic Zoomer female protagonist, where she's the bestest, most specialist ever, and everybody is also cut from a similar mold. Like, it's still bad at the end of the day. Even if you fix the bugs, it just becomes less fun. This actually has declined. Talking about, just tertiary viewership. Okay, Twitch Tracker also notes this. Streams of the game are averaging 176 viewers across an average of 32 channels. Had a peak average of 490 viewers across 757 channels. Declined 87% from August to September, and it was only live for 2 days in August. I guess there was, 2 or 3 days of early access, but it's completely cratered. Now in October, it's actually declined over 99%. If you look at average viewers and compare it to average peak of, 45,490 when it launched in August. So yeah, the game's dead, and its awful reception was a big reason as to why Assassin's Creed ended up getting pushed off that and its own terrible marketing, up to and including a PlayArts figurine with a destroyed Torii Gate that is most synonymous with the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So yeah, that was just yet another stumble along the road of failure in 2024, but Pure Arts to rework the Assassin's Creed Shadows statue featuring Yasuke and Naoi on a destroyed Torii Gate after a massive backlash, which I don't really think there were too many people buying this thing to begin with. But yeah, them setting out the old black screen apology. We recently released an insensitive design that people were mocking and not buying, but we'll fix it, and we'll just have the two protagonists, or maybe they'll be I'd imagine they probably just get rid of the Torii Gate in general and then just have Naoi down on the ground next to Yasuke, them back to back. I don't know, maybe standing on top of a slain Japanese guy. Because just like Star Wars Outlaws, even if you fix all of this stuff that we're joking about, you're still going to have a bad game at the end of it. You can fix all the bugs, it can run smooth as butter, but you're still going to have a trash 2024 Ubisoft game when it's all said and done. Like, the people that are programming this stuff are awful at their jobs, which makes this even more hilarious that they're all going on strike. Like, understand where you're at right now, okay? You work for a company that is on the verge of bankruptcy. At best, it could be going private in 2025. At worst, the studio could be closed. And you decide now is time to go ahead and hit the streets and demand more pay from a company that is hemorrhaging money. Great choice. We knew you were French. You just didn't really have to underscore it for all of us. But 700 Ubisoft employees strike a company in response to return to office requirements believed to be an attempt to force resignations. Oh yeah, no. 4 years. 4 years of working from home. 4 years of releasing substandard products. And here's the thing, right? Like, game development works a little bit different. It's the same basic ideology that permeates a lot of entertainment, but when it comes to a game development cycle, there's a slower turnaround from that of Hollywood. Most of the crap that we're seeing right now is holdovers from the strikes that were happening last year that has had deleterious effects on that industry, and they're starting to feel the pinch, and they definitely will next year as well, because there's like a 40% drop off in productions. Yeah, you go on strike, there are fewer jobs that are out there. Big spoilers, big shock on that one. All the stuff we're suffering from right now is, holdovers from 2023, ideas that were just stated 3-4 years ago, all hitting the screen right now, where if this was on a regular cycle, it would have been stuff from 2 years ago, releasing 2 years later. And if you go ahead and cast your minds back, and you take into consideration your average video game development cycle is like 3 or 4 years, okay? Put your mind back at that point in time. What was the stuff that was running real hot in 2020 and 2021? Oh, makes sense. Well, there's a black samurai. Makes sense. We have a strong female protagonist. What was all the stuff that was running so hot back then? Oh yeah, all starting to make more sense, huh? But yeah, all of these like, I can smell that picture right there. But you've been doing bad work from home. You've been releasing substandard game after substandard game. I can't remember the last time. It's probably Rainbow Six Siege. The last time that Ubisoft had a verifiable success on their hands. And you're complaining that, in order to, try to maintain a little bit of quality, you guys should probably come back to the office that you were hired to work from to begin with, and you're trying to go on strike because you'd rather just barely do nothing for a couple hours a week and collect a full paycheck at home? Yeah, I don't think so, bro. But around 700 Ubisoft employees at its French studios have reportedly gone on strike in response to the company requiring employees to begin working at the office as opposed to work from home. Back in September, the French video game union Syndicat des Travailleurs du Jeux Vidéo, French garbage, called for Ubisoft employees to strike on October 15th, 16th, and 17th after the company demanded employees begin working from the company offices for 3 days per week for all employees. Oh, so running a 3-2 schedule, and that's far too much for them? Unbelievable. The union also shared that they believe Ubisoft made the move, given it knows consequences for its decisions will be the loss of our colleagues' jobs, disorganization of many game projects, and a drastic increase of psychosocial risk for those who remain. Unbelievable. It's far too traumatic to work from an office. Right. Yeah, man, if a games industry collapse is really upon us, and it's really looking the case, especially on the Western front, and there are great successes out east in China and Korea, and even though it's starting to affect Japan pretty bad right now, we'll talk about that probably next year. Or I'm sorry, next week rather. The West is in it's pants on head 5-alarm fire stupidity right now. Furthermore, it noted the decision is announced immediately after the failure of the profit-sharing negotiations, exactly like previous salary negotiations. Management's proposals were unacceptable, and negotiations timetable was appalling. Yeah, it's just unions being unions, just complaining about, oh no, we can't have caviar at lunchtime, we can't have every developer work 4 hours a week and get paid for 40. I can't believe this is unacceptable terms. Express our anger, we call on all Ubisoft employees in France to first strike strike on October 15th, 16th, 17th, leading into the weekend. And if we don't get our demands, then we will continue to hit the streets, which has resulted in an interesting response. Yeah, this was from the 15th, right? And you take a look at the flags that they're waving out there. Now, I don't know what it says because French and all, but you can see, yeah, okay, why is there a bunch of degenerate flags flying in the background? Like, you got a half red, half black one that you see in the middle right there that I've highlighted a little bit, or at least, follow the cursor there for a second. That's generally associated with Antifa. Okay, you also got it over there. But then you got a trans flag as well, and then you also got the Progress Pride flag there as well. Like, are you guys on strike against the video game industry, or are you just out there trying to virtue signal, which is what Grums is pointing out? The Ubisoft strike in France is ongoing. They want to work from home, but why all the virtue flags? What does this have to do with it at all? And why are there so many damn stripes? And how many are we up to right now? Yeah, exactly. It's almost like when you staff your company with activists, you end up putting out shit like Star Wars Outlaws, Assassin's Creed Shadows, X-Defiant, Skull and Bones, and everything else that has led to this company losing 90% of its stock value. In the past year, Ubisoft is on the brink of collapse, and now their activists masquerading as employees want a bigger slice of the dwindling share. You can't make this stuff up, kids. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.